before. It asked me if I wanted to record on this computer or on the cloud. The cloud makes me nervous. Okay, so welcome everybody. Happy last Sunday in January. It's crazy to think that that's possible right now. I have to tell you that I was trying to really be on the 8 ball, and part of me doing this call is not wasting as much time and being more productive and those kinds of things. So I had this call actually, I researched it and had it all done, PowerPoint and everything 3 weeks ago. And today when I went to pull it up, just to kind of like look it over before I was going to talk to you guys, I could find it nowhere. Like searched everywhere on my computer, in my email, on my drives online, everything. It was MIA, so I had to redo the whole thing. So much for that. But it's going to be great. So now I really have a refresher in what I was going to talk about. So whether you guys are, trying to, Messenger's not active. Steph, you're logged in under Team United Empire. That's probably what happened. It just mentioned that. Please assign a host. You know how, Steph, you hosted the call last time? So you just have to switch your user back to yourself is all. But you guys can still hear me and everything, right? Thumbs up? Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys. So whether you are building a business or you are like a business that you want to, make an income off of to replace an income or to do, Steph, you're fine. It didn't do anything. It just was messing up my messenger. You guys, or you're just doing this in pockets of your day and it's kind of something you want to do as a hobby, I think all of us can agree that we need to work smarter, not harder. We don't want to be putting in like 8 hours a day into this business and not seeing the fruits of that. So that's what this call is going to be about. So I'm going to share my screen to my beautiful PowerPoint that I hope comes up fine. Let me try this one. Okay, so I can no longer see anyone. So I'm going to just look at my messenger and count on Stephanie to tell me if she cannot see my slides. So how to stop wasting time and get more done in your day with Lindsay Fortney. Me, I'm Star Diamond Coach. Nope, that's not the one I want. Hang on, I already figured that out. Okay, let's try the scan. Share screen. Let's go in here. Okay, so now I should be able to see you guys. Every time, guys, I tell you. So that happens when you don't get a Mac. Just saying. Okay, so actually, before I do this, I want to ask you guys a question. You can put it in the chat, or you can just like nod or raise your hand if you're on the screen. How many of you are busy? Anybody? Is anybody busy here that's coaching? Yeah, lots of people, pretty much everybody, right? Ironically, those of us who are really busy also tend to put more on our plates and seem to be able to handle more. It's kind of one of those crazy things. But in reality, like everybody's busy. Busy is a relative term. What one person thinks is busy might be a walk in the park compared to somebody else. Me as a newer coach, for anybody who doesn't know me well, I'm going into my 3rd year of coaching, but me as a newer coach, I had a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. My husband, Christopher, works 12-hour shifts and has an hour commute. So sometimes he's gone like for 14 hours at a time. I was a full-time realtor. I just left that job. I just put in my resignation last week. I volunteered at the school and for sports. We own a house, so I have a house to clean, I have meals to cook, I have a yard to take care of, pets to take care of. I was on my own fitness journey, so I had to make sure that I was getting my workouts in and stuff. I was still figuring out a lot of like meal prep and what that looked like to me, what healthier eating looked like to me. And with real estate, you're really on everyone else's schedule. So I had to be very adaptive to that. And then I was doing continuing education for real estate. And then about a year into coaching, I decided that I wanted to get certified as a fitness and nutrition expert. So I did that. And I also have a son who, since he's been 5 years old, has had some mystery illness that we've been dealing with. So I'm seeing the chat light up. So I'm just going to take a. Okay. Hi, Ellie. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I interrupted to look at that. Okay, so I was working in pockets of time from the very beginning, but it was really great because it really taught me to work more efficiently. Now, I still know that looking back, especially, that I was not working super smart. I was working super hard, but not super smart. So I'm going to change my slide. Let me know, guys, if you don't see it change, okay? Did that change? No? Okay. It always does that to me for some reason. Did you guys see the picture of me with Maddox in there with doing a downward dog, or was it still stuck on my title? Let's try again. Okay. Can you see this? Turn off distractions. Did that come up for you guys? Okay. So let's talk about this. The news feed, everything, your phone. I'm looking at chats right now because there's crazy notifications everywhere. This is going to be my first, okay, yeah. This is going to be my first tip. Turn off the distractions. So you need, if you're going to set, especially if you're somebody who's doing this in pockets of time, which pretty much, unless you're coaching full-time and don't have any other responsibilities in your life, which is pretty much impossible, you're going to be doing this in pockets of your time. When you are working, you need to be working. You need to turn off your phone and you need to get the heck out of the news feed. I know we're all scroll, and it's like addictive. That's how Facebook has become so popular, even Instagram too. There is actually a tool in Google Chrome called Kill the Newsfeed. So if you are someone who cannot work on your business without being distracted by the newsfeed, look up Kill the Newsfeed and put that into action. You can still see the newsfeed on your mobile and stuff, but when you're working on your computer, you can't see it. That's another tip I have actually, is to work off your computer, not just off your phone, because it's pretty, like, for me anyways, I kind of just can focus better when I'm on my computer, and it feels more like I'm working, I'm focusing. It's not just like an activity, an extracurricular. It's like I need to get to work. So when I came up with this idea for this call, I had the idea to turn off my notifications for everything. So I have survived for the last 3 weeks with no notifications on for Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger. And great news, I'm still alive. I didn't miss anything. I would just go, when I wanted to check things, I would just go into them. So instead of getting the like alerts 24/7, I was like purposefully checking it. So I'm like, okay, I have time. I'm going to check my Instagram notifications right now. Okay, I have time. I'm going to check my Messenger notifications. That was hard for me because with being in real estate, I was used to always answering people when they immediately after they talk to me, right? Like I'm like, oh, I can't not give them service. And I kind of started doing that with my coaches and my challengers as well. And I really wasn't setting up any boundaries for myself, and I was being really easily distracted. So do that, okay? This one might be hard, but this is another thing that I've put into action so that I'm not a hypocrite while I'm telling you to do this. Set up a serious schedule. You need, and this, again, regardless if you're working full-time, part-time, whatever, you need to set up a minute-by-minute work schedule. No, you don't have to be like 8:51, go pee, 8:52, wash hands, but you need to know on paper. So I did this on paper. So, I have it right here in front of me. Exactly what you're going to do in a day, what time you're going to wake up. I can share this with you, what mine looks like if you guys are curious after. But it was really, really important for me too, starting 80-day obsession, to know when I was doing what time I needed to wake up at to fit everything in, and then how I was going to fit my business and my family and anything else I had to do in a day around that. Okay. Now, don't be unrealistic. Make sure you put in buffers. So if you're going to spend, say you're going to spend an hour on your business every day. We'll talk about this more in detail later, but you still need to have some buffers before and after. Things are going to come up. The phone, is going to ring, or you're going to be late for something, and it's not going to work out perfectly. But if you have a little bit of a buffer, or something takes a little bit longer than you think it might, maybe a conversation with somebody, then that's going to make sure that you're not actually sabotaging yourself and getting totally off track. When you decide you are going to do something, so say for me, for example, from 8 to 8:30 in the morning, I'm going to message new customers. I just made this up. This isn't my real schedule. And from 8:30 to 9, I'm going to create posting material. I have to set a timer because I love to create posting material. Do I love to message people? Not so much. I probably wouldn't have to set a timer for that. I'd probably be checking the clock. But it's easy to get caught up in it. So if you're not setting a timer, then you're just working, without purposeful time management. Can you guys see that set up a series schedule slide? Okay, so we're rolling. Okay, so wake up earlier. This is painful for me. I am so not a morning person. Some of you guys already get up super early. I'm not talking to you guys, but those of you who don't get up at a regular set time all of the time, or could benefit from getting up earlier, everyone. Although I have like a coach on here right now, Megan, who gets up and works out at 4 a.m. She's pretty much as early as you can get. But for me, I was waiting until my kids woke up and then starting my day. It was like the worst thing ever. But I hate mornings. So I was like, well, I don't care. I want to get as much sleep as possible. Some days my day started at 6. Some days my day started at 7:15. Some days I couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't plan my morning properly that way. Really, there's so much power in your morning. And especially if you live in a house with people, starting your morning before everyone else is up. Now I understand why my mom got up before us. And when we come downstairs, she'd be sitting down there like, yes, I've been waiting for you. Like the spider that was waiting for the fly. You're on your game. You're ready. And it really starts your day as you being proactive rather than reactive to everything. If you haven't read the Miracle Morning for either the regular Miracle Morning or the Miracle Morning for network marketers, I highly recommend you do that. He just kind of goes into what you should be doing in the morning, what you need to do, how you can start kind of adjusting to becoming a morning person, why it's so important to be a morning person. I mean, it doesn't mean you have to love the morning, but it means that you're going to take charge of your day by starting with the morning. So start your day off right, on the right foot, by setting aside, time for important things like PD, your workout, messaging people, those kinds of things. My morning looks like now, I always listen to some PD. And then while I'm drinking my Shakeology and then I'm drinking my Energize, I write my gratitude list out and then I start my workout. And already I've done 3 important things in my day. And before it's even before anybody else is even up. Okay, so this is, if you guys take nothing else from this is really important. Focus on business building and income generating activities. To do that, you need to know what those things are for you. Usually, so if your goal, and this goes back actually to your goals. So if your goals are, just to maybe break even with your Shakeology, or your goal is just to stay on your own fitness journey, or your goal is, maybe your goal is to retire from your job. These are obviously all very different goals, which are going to have different kinds of business building activities that need to be done to go along with them. But I'll tell you this, if any of your goals have to do with earning an income with this, you have to be meeting new people. You have to be having conversations. You have to be following up with people, and you have to be tracking those conversations and those follow-ups and those new people. That is it. Stop wasting time on things like the perfect font or graphics and wording on your posts. It was nothing for me, as a new coach, to spend 30 minutes thinking about how I wanted to do a post. That's 30 minutes I could have been talking to people. 30 minutes that I could have been, you know, doing something more productive with my day. Yes, we want our graphics to look attractive. Yes, we want, you know, to stop people in the scrolling. But at the same time, if we're not doing, those are kind of like busy activities, right? Those are things that are just preoccupying us with our time. You really need to get it down to a science of how you're going to get those posts to look good and be effective, but not have that being the bulk of your time. And I'm going to talk about that too. Work with only one tab open at a time. I have not mastered that yet. If you saw my computer when I started my share, I probably had like 17 tabs open at the top. That's my brain. My brain actually has that many tabs open at a time. But when you're focused on something, so if you're, you know, going to go into Facebook Messenger and you're going to be messaging people, you don't need to have open like your PowerPoint that you're working on and your weather report and CNN news, and you know what I mean? Like, you're just causing sensory overload. Don't do that to yourself. Now, obviously, every day you're not going to have the same amount of time to work on your business. There's going to be days maybe when you work a full shift. There's going to be days when your kid is sick. There's going to be days when you don't feel well. On those days, you need to, that you're short on time, you can't skip those first 4 activities that I talked about. So meeting new people, conversations, follow-ups, and tracking. Maybe on a day like that, you don't add any new graphics, or you're not posting like 15 times to your Instagram stories, but you are making sure you're still having your conversations and your follow-ups, and you're writing those names down. This is really key. So cash flow and commitment activities take priority. So if your goal, like I said, is to make any kind of income with this business, those are the things, the activities that you need to make sure are your first priority. For me, I find I'm more alert, I'm more pleasant, and I'm more productive first thing in the morning. If I do my messaging, which I really don't like to always do, I have to do it first thing in the morning. Then I can move on to other stuff like training or whatever I have on my to-do list that day. Ask yourself this: will this activity that I'm doing bring me money into my business in the next 2 months? That is from Melanie Mitro. Girl is a 4-time coach, top coach of Beachbody. She knows what she's talking about. It's a really easy self-check onto, am I doing something that's just kind of like killing time to make it look like I'm, you know, working my business, or am I actually doing something that is going to grow my business, help me inspire more people, let me reach out to more people? I really like that. Believe in your inner Beyonce. It's my graphic. Okay, this is really good for me. So for anybody who's really type A, like myself, and loves lists, you need to get the micro wins. Divide things into tiny tasks so you get micro wins all day and are motivated to keep working. This is really key. Like, psychologically, they've proven it, that if you write things out with pen and paper and you cross them off, it feels really good. It's like mental stimulation. So I know it's easier to type sometimes into your phone or whatever, but don't underestimate the paper and pen list and the scratching it off. And your list isn't going to be just like, do a coach webinar. It's going to be like, break it down, create the graphics for the coach webinar, videotape the testimony, create the ad copy, etc. Okay, so as you're crossing those things off, they're all parts of it. You're just giving yourself little wins all day long. And just check the chat for a second. I keep Post-it notes. Nice. Yeah, I love micro wins. Totally do that with my life too. Okay, guys, this is a game changer. Get into batching. Okay, I did this a little bit, but now I'm really getting into it. So batch like tasks together to take advantage of momentum. So it's kind of like meal prepping. You don't make one chicken breast at a time. You cook a bunch, right? And then you have them for the week when things get busy and you're not feeling like you want to cook, and so on. Do things like messaging or tracking or creating posts or doing webinars or graphics or answering emails in batches. So if you're on, you're in a groove, and say Sundays are your day that you plan out your posts for the week ahead, that's what I do. then I'll make, like, I know what my Motivation Monday post is going to be. I know what my Transformation Tuesday post is going to be. I know relatively what I'm going to talk about all week long for at least one post a day. That's batching. That's instead of waking up and being like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. Okay, my cat is laying on the floor. Oh, my cat is so pretty. And then you're like putting crap on Facebook that nobody wants to see. Or even worse, you're putting nothing because you're like, well, nobody cares about my cat and I don't know what I'm going to talk about, so I'm just going to skip this part. No, if you create quality stuff in batches and have that handy for when you don't feel like doing it later on in the week or you're busy, win. So I take one day a week and I plan posts, take some photos, get quote ideas. So I'll often, Sundays are usually rest days or active recovery days. If I have yoga poses or I have workout moves that I liked, my body's not tired and dying and I'm not on a strict schedule, I can stop and I can take some pictures. Hey, if you're game, bring down some extra tops and change your top a few times and you look like you're on different days for different motivational, like Fitspo kind of posts, or fit tips that you're going to give, that kind of thing. And build up some recipe posts if that's something that you like to share. And just brainstorm about post material. That's being proactive rather than reactive, right? That just means you're working smarter, not harder. You're not spending that 30 minutes sitting there going, okay, what should I post about? What should I post about? You're like, I know what I'm going to post about. I know what people are going to see. Okay. Simplification is key. So I know a lot of us that have been doing this for a while have systems, and make systems and make new systems and then make newer systems. And then we're like, okay, I'm not using any of the systems, but I have great systems. You really need, for any kind of system you come up with, so whether it be tracking who you talk to or how you're keeping track of your challengers or those kinds of things, you need to make sure that they're simple and easily accessible. So something on your phone, something that you feel comfortable using, or something like keep your planner with you all the time. Don't try to get into like huge, elaborate tracking schemes that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't find what I'm doing in here and I'm so overwhelmed, I'm just not going to use it. Don't underestimate pen and paper, a notebook. We have those 100 conversation sheets. I've got one right here that we had for Delta Mu. You can write. I use the self-laminating paper on mine, and I write on it with dry erase marker, take a picture of it at the end of the month, dry erase it, start over again. The win the week. Guys, it honestly doesn't have to be more complicated than that. I know that some things look pretty and more whatever. Business activity tracker in the Coach Online office. Find your thing that you feel comfortable with tracking and use it. Don't be worried if it's not super fancy or super elaborate, okay? And like I kind of talked to you guys a little bit before, take the extra thinking out of posting. Post on themes each day of the week if you're into that. It doesn't have to be the same themes as me, but something that speaks to you. Maybe Foodie Friday, or you don't have to call it that in your post. I just use those labels to know kind of what I want to talk about. It honestly makes my life so much easier because I'll be like, sometimes I'll be like, well, I have no idea what I want to talk about on Saturday. I'm like, oh yeah, talk about my family on Saturday, whatever they're doing, whatever ridiculously crazy things they're doing. Let's make something funny about that. Okay, so again, for anybody who's been a coach for more than 3 months, recycle, repurpose, and revamp with effective post content and marketing. So if you've run any ads or events, or even if you've just done posts on your like page or on your profile, do not be afraid to go back and take those great posts and maybe change the graphic and change the wording a little bit, but repurpose it. If you repurpose content every few months, people aren't going to see every post. Trust me, the way the algorithms are now, people are not seeing every post you're posting, and most people won't see it twice. And also, if you're doing it like every 3 months, hold on a second. If you're doing it every 3 months, there's a good likelihood if somebody saw it 3 months ago, they forget. Okay, so don't worry about that. Revamp previously created products and services rather than recreating. So, example for me, I have a couple free group layouts. One that I use a lot is my ab and squat group. This graphic you can see is my plank test. I've I I think like after month 3, I changed my graphic on it. I've reused this. My hair's not even that color anymore, but this is the one I use, and I don't need to reuse it. But when I do, I'll use that same layout. I'll just do a new image with it. I save my stuff in Evernote, my posts. I tweak them a little tiny bit. I get a little bit more effective with my wording, that kind of thing, as I learn. Um, but I am not recreating material every single month for a 5-day free group. The first one I ever did took me a long time to set up. But after that, I had that material going forward. So it's just something you can just improve on a little each month. Now, if something didn't get great traction, then maybe it's time to completely redo it. But if it's something that did well and was effective, by all means, repurpose, revamp, recycle. And don't feel like you can't double post on your if you have a like page and you have a profile, don't feel like you can't double post. I do it all the time, and some top coaches do it and stuff too. Even on Instagram, now you have to be conscientious of which platform you're on. Of course, you can't have a big long wordy post on Instagram. People don't want to see that. Same as you can't have a graphic maybe that's not as eye-catching on Instagram as you can on Facebook. So be conscientious of, or be conscious, not conscientious. Be conscious of which platform you're on when you are using that. Sometimes I'll use the same wording on my like page as my profile, but I'll change the image. I'm just saving myself some time. And honestly, most people don't follow you on both. I have 47 or 4,800 people that like my like page. I have 1,200 friends on Facebook. So there's lots of people that aren't seeing my stuff on my profile that are seeing on my stuff on my like page. Plus, if somebody, say a random few people do see it twice, it's not a bad thing. People have to see things like 7 times before it really sinks in. Okay, so take breaks and vacations, but earn them and make them scheduled. We all need breaks, and sometimes if you're really enjoying what you're doing, like say you are somebody like me who really likes to create posts and you like watching your challengers and you love checking into your challenge groups, it can be really easy not to like take a break from that. But you need to so you can avoid burnout, and you need to so that you can reset your creativity. It doesn't mean you go AWOL on everybody, but you need to, if you're going to work hard in the morning one day, you're going to take the afternoon and the evening off. You've got everything planned. You've done those important tasks that you were supposed to do. Or for me, say I'm going on vacation next weekend. I've been working really, really hard to prepare for that. So I'm scheduling challenge group posts. I am making sure that I am getting all of my new challengers set up for my new challenge group. I'm, working with the team of coaches that I do challenge groups with, and we are collaborating and making sure that all that stuff is ready to go, because I'm not going to be as present as I am when I'm home. Now, if you prepare for that, you can have the time guilt-free. It's the same as, if you work hard, maybe you put your kids down to bed, you work hard for an hour on those business building activities, then you sit down with your husband or your best friend on the phone and you enjoy that time. You can do that totally guilt-free. If you are fully present wherever you are, because you have put all of your intention into that thing that you're doing. So for example, if you're fully present with your kids, when you're with your kids, then you can not feel guilty when you want to take that hour to work on your business. And vice versa. If you're fully present working on your business, you don't need to have your phone out, and I'm really bad and guilty for this, when you're visiting with your spouse. We're like this. Love you too. We're working on that. Okay. Say no more often. So this is my last piece of advice. This is for all the people pleasers out there, like me, and people who just want to help and want to do more and are afraid to say no. And not even that you're afraid to say no, it's just that you don't want to say no. You want to do everything you can. People ask you for help or they ask you to do things. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. You need to say no more often. Because when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And that is very powerful. The training that Ellie has from Courtney Donahue, I forget, her name's hyphenated, but she's really big on this. She's like, she has like 1 month a year where she says yes to things. She says, don't throw your yeses around. You should be saying no way more than yes. Now, this is something Chalene Johnson also says it. It is something that I have really gotten a lot better at over the last 6 or 7 months as I've had to shift my priorities into what is actually important. So I had to write down the things that were actually really important to me. Obviously, like things like spending time with my kids, having a good relationship with my spouse, helping my challengers to the best of my ability, those kinds of things. I had to write those out. And then I had to look at the things outside of those things and see which things were actually interfering with that. And if it wasn't something like, so say I know I'm more productive in the morning. I have a hard time saying yes to things in the morning, unless it's an appointment and I can't get something else. I have a hard time saying yes to things in the morning if I know I need to work, because I know that if I do something else in the morning and I come back to work in the afternoon or in the evening, I'm just not going to have the same focus and energy, and it's going to be kind of a waste for me that way. This qualifies for every part of your life, not just for coaching. But if you're willing to say, and if you're somebody who struggles with this, you start by saying, you know what, let me get back to you. Because if you make that decision in the moment and you're somebody like me, you're like, sure, okay, yeah, I think so. And then you're like stuck when you really just needed to digest it and figure out what you're doing and what will actually be best for you, the people around you, and that kind of thing. If you're somebody who has said yes for a really long time, people may have a hard time at first. Like when you say no, they'll be like, whoa, what? But trust me, they get used to it. And it's a respect thing, right? Because you're saying your time and your energy is important too. And you need to know where your priorities are. So I'm going to, I think that's the end. Yep. Stop share. I saw the chat. Team ideas on posts would help here too. You know what, Jen? You have really good posts, and I feel like you are somebody. I don't know if you can hear me, but you are somebody who could easily do like a theme a day post and just kind of do them for a couple months and then rotate them, change your graphic, change your idea. One of my favorite simple pictures is good. Oh, I love good to-do list too, Jillian. So I'm going to stop the recording, and then I'm going to see if you guys have any questions, because I just yapped a lot.